Hello, my name is Allison Carmen, and welcome to my podcast, 10 Minutes to Less Suffering. And the name of today's podcast is To Love the World into Tomorrow. And this idea came to me from Mark Nepo's new book, Surviving Storms. I cannot recommend this book enough. Mark continues to write from such a deep place within himself, and my sense is that he wrote this book to help people survive difficult times in their lives, but also give them hope when they see difficult things happening in the world, to give them hope when they feel perhaps their life is not making a difference. And I'd like to share a couple of sections of his book so you could connect with the depth of his writing. At one point in the book, Mark is discussing his amazement about how life on Earth really began. He writes, "The initiation of the universe has stayed with me. How the immensity of life in the beginning was so dependent on the smallest speck of positive energy. And then it occurred to me that this is not just a description of the beginning of the universe, but a description of an ongoing creation. Remarkably, we are here by the one gesture that outweighs all the rest. And this process is never done. That one gesture has to be enlivened and reasserted every day. This is the purpose of goodness, to outweigh all the other possibilities by one gesture of care, so that life will continue. We are challenged to be the one positive ion of energy, the one photon that ensures that life will have its chance. Thus, when clear and authentic, when facing what is ours to face, we are healthy enough and light enough to love the world into tomorrow. But when knotted and in hiding, when putting other life down to prop ourselves up, when pushing other life away to run from what we fear, then we collapse into ourselves. And through our thickness and heaviness, we engender cruelty. Collapsed into ourselves, we jeopardize life on earth. That so much depends on so little is the cornerstone of faith. Not faith in an idea or doctrine, but deep-seated functional faith, which calls on us to believe in the one gesture we could offer every day, never knowing if that particular kindness is the one that will keep life going. It may be our impulse to help an old woman pick up her groceries in the parking lot, or sitting for a minute with someone who is beside themselves, or stopping to move a stray dog out of the road. Every day there are countless gestures that keep the world going, which are anonymous but deeply essential. So the next time you witness indifference, selfishness, or cruelty, counter it with a gesture of kindness and care. Be the anonymous photon, that one ion of care that makes life possible, that keeps this mysterious journey alive. Outweigh the dark choices one more time. Can there be anything more noble and relevant than to dare to be relentlessly kind in an effort to keep life going? And I read this to you today, again, because so many of us can feel so overwhelmed with the news that we read every day, that talks about the possibility of nuclear war and global warming and gun violence and all these things happening. We could feel so out of control. And yes, there's a lot in life we need to let go of that we cannot control, but this is different. When we feel out of control about what's going on in the world, sometimes we lose our way, we lose our will, and we lose our hope. And we forget that each gesture of goodness matters. You might think to yourself, Allison, this is so simplistic. We're going to counter gun violence. We're going to counter global warming. We're going to counter nuclear war with an act of kindness or gesture. First, I have to say that despair is us believing we know what's going to happen next because it's easier to have doom and gloom than to be creative. So despair does not ever solve a problem. It just allows us to sit on our couches and do nothing. And a gesture perhaps is working towards a solution. A gesture perhaps is going to a field that will help certain areas. Or perhaps a gesture is just being loving and kind to the people around you, and then maybe they go out and do something different. We have no idea what one act does for the world. And I'd rather be out there acting and believing that we could love this world into tomorrow than just sitting around complaining and saying nothing can be different. Again, that's the easy way out. You see somebody out there reporting all these facts and telling you it can't get better, but they don't know. To me, I'd rather side with the person that's willing to be hopeful. Not ignoring the facts, but to be hopeful that there are new ideas, there are new tomorrows, there are miracles, or all these things. And they happen every day when we get up and we do something. Big or small, we just keep trying to move the world forward. And then that positive spark, again, from whoever it comes from, or maybe all of us, we move things in a better direction. Nobody knows the future. And that's a good thing, because that means things can change and things can get better. But not if we're in despair, and not if we lose hope, and not if we stop trying, and not if we say things are out of our control. So every time something overwhelms you, every time you see something in the news, every time you see something in your life that makes you feel doom and gloom, remember, nobody knows the future. Uncertainty is your best friend, because if you want your life to change, it has to happen in the unknown. If you want the world to change, it has to happen in the unknown. Every time we act, we create a new possibility for the future. Mark writes, every day in every situation, we are called to make the one gesture that will outweigh all the rest. We are called to recreate the universe by choosing love over fear, by choosing interdependence over self-interest, by choosing care over brutality. And so ultimately, everything we do matters. Everything we do matters. When we think like that, every moment becomes sacred. Every act becomes meaningful. Everything we do has purpose. Every laugh, every gesture, every act of love, every new project, every thought. And when we bring ourselves forward with an open heart and with love and with caring and with the intention to make the world a better place, with the intention to love the world into tomorrow, we are choosing love over fear. We are choosing care over brutality and interdependence over self-interest. We are choosing for life to continue. Try not to look at the world and feel hopeless. If there's breath, there's hope. And if there's hope, there's maybe. Maybe everything we do every day matters. Maybe one of us out there will find a solution that improves all of our lives. Maybe all our acts together will make a difference. Maybe our thoughts of love, maybe our prayers, maybe until our last breath, there is hope for the world to become better. And it's through our love, and it's through who we are, and it's through not giving up and not losing faith and keeping hope. There's nothing you do that is too small. There's nothing that you do that is meaningless. And when we feel this way, when we know we matter, when we know our actions matter, when we know our thoughts matter, when we know that we are part of that love, and we are part of that hope, and we are part of that miracle, and we might not be the one who creates that brilliant solution, but we are holding the world every day to make tomorrow possible, to make that miracle possible. When you wake up every day with an open heart and you hold the hope and you don't let fear overcome you, you are loving the world into tomorrow. And when we do that, we create the possibility that maybe the best is yet to come. Thank you for listening to this podcast today. If you'd like to get in touch with me, you can email me at allison@allisoncarmen.com. If you'd like to buy my books, The Gift of Maybe or Year Without Men, they're available at all major bookstores and online retailers. If you like this podcast, you could subscribe and leave a comment.